All right, I'm going to start off with my verses starting in Matthew verse 24. And it says, "Therefore, who hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock." Verse 25. And it says, "The rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on the house. And it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock." In verse 26, and it says, "But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be likened to a foolish man who built his house on the sand." In verse 27, and it says, "The rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on the house, and it fell, and great was its fall." And that was Matthew 7, verses 24 through 27. And I'd like to speak to you guys for a few minutes today on the importance of having and building a firm foundation. What you build your foundation on is so very important because everything in who you are will stem from what you build your life on. If you want what you're building to last, you have to have a good foundation. If you build your life on a relationship with God and godly principles, your life will bring forth fruit that shows that. If you build a life of prayer, fasting, and Bible reading, you're establishing a firm foundation. The Bible says, "The wise man built his house upon the rock, and when the storms came, and when the trials of life came, his house stood strong, for it was built on a sturdy foundation." Think about the Leaning Tower of Pisa. When it was first built, the builders didn't take the time to fix the little mistakes that appeared as they were building it. It was built on an unstable foundation. They thought it would be okay and that it would still last, but because of the lofty foundation at the beginning, over time, the building has it started to lean. And sooner rather than later, the building isn't going to be able to lean anymore, and it's going to completely crash. Think about that in perspective to your life. If you don't build or fix your foundation now, eventually it's going to all completely fall apart. But if your foundation is strong and you already have a made-up mind, nothing will be able to destroy your house. This doesn't mean that the hard times will never come. It just means that you'll know exactly what to do when they do come if you're built on a godly foundation. If you live your life in relationship with God without a firm foundation, and it really isn't that important to you, everything in your life will be affected by it. The verse says that the foolish man built his house upon the sand. His foundation was unstable. He wasn't grounded in his faith and beliefs. And when the trials of life came, it says his house completely fell. If your foundation was wrong, your building cannot be right. No matter how good your building looks, it will eventually fall if it's not built on a good foundation. But don't worry if you feel like you've built your house on the sand, or in other words, your foundation is unstable. Now is the time to reconstruct your foundation. It's not going to be an easy journey to fix all the broken and jagged pieces. Actually, it's probably going to be a very hard and time-consuming journey, but the journey will be worth it. After all, you are worth it to God. The way that you can start your foundation is to build a house of prayer. Pray consistently and diligently. You cannot build a house on a firm foundation without consistency. You also need to fast and read the word of the Lord for yourself. Going to church whenever the doors are open is important as well. After all, God did choose the foolishness of preaching to save us. Take to heart the lessons you learn and apply them to your life every single day. You are now on your way to building and maintaining a strong foundation in Christ.